Hey class, this is Jerry. I wanted to take a few minutes and cut a quick video in response to Anthony's postings. He's in Digital 2 and is doing a series on places of worship on the East Coast, Northeast particularly, and I think it's potentially a very terrific project, and I like the fact that he is doing some active editing on his pictures, and particularly like the fact that he put a before and after down here on an interior of this cathedral. So here's a before shot, and what we see is exactly how it came off the camera, and here's his after version. So what I wanted to do is take a couple of minutes to discuss the pros and cons of what happened here and how I might edit it a little bit differently as a teaching moment. So hold on a second. Okay, so I clicked on the pictures and enlarged them and brought them into Photoshop at their 1600 by 1200 dimension, 5.5 megabytes, as you can see down here at the bottom. So here's the before version and here's the after version. Okay, so we can agree on the before version that it's a bit dull. We don't have much contrast here, and if I go Image, Adjustment, Levels, or Control L, as you can see right over here is the shortcut Control L, it shows us a histogram. And I always begin my editing with looking at the histogram. It shows us complete distribution of values from pure black on the left to pure white on the right. And notice that the highest values he's got begin at a sort of mid-level gray, upper-level gray. And that's what gives us this low contrast, quiet look. So my first step is to bring in the highlight right to the edge of the mountain here and stop just at the point where the highlight starts to be bright on the brightest parts of this white statue here. And notice where that occurs, right at the edge of the histogram hill. On both ends we've got the black set and the highlight set, and then the midtones are pretty good. I can decrease contrast by moving it in this direction, increase contrast by moving it in that direction. But I'm going to leave it right where it is for the moment and say OK to that. Notice on Anthony's version that the highlights are blown out terribly here, and that's something we want to avoid. I like to say in editing pictures in Photoshop, adopt the physician's credo of first do no harm, and one of the things that we're trying to avoid are clipped highlights, blocked highlights that are, quote, blown out, and the same for the black areas too. We want to allow the darks to have detail in the shadows. Also, I'm seeing that the green that I saw evident in the color balance is a bit skewed towards the green size, is only increased here in this version. Here's a quick trick also, Control L again for levels, and there are 3 eyedroppers here. This can set a highlight value, this can set your shadow value. I don't often use them, but the middle eyedropper is interesting because if I click on that, no matter what I click on will be rendered in a very neutral gray or white. So I'm looking at the marble right here, and if I click on that, watch what happens. Notice that all the green got pulled out. The interior went a little bit magenta, a little bit too much the other way, so it's not a magic bullet. Sometimes I'm trying to find a different gray, and that's a little softer. It's a little bit of a compromise there. So I'll say OK to that. Good. So what else can I do to this? What I'd like to do is straighten this angel and make it a little more vertical. See how it's leaning a little left here. And bring up some of the detail under the dome here, which is gorgeous, and just tweak it a little bit. for the highlights and basically leave it alone. In this version of Photoshop, the crop tool doesn't rotate the picture. This is an earlier version, Photoshop 4. So what I'm going to do is use the free transform tool. So I'm going to say Control A to select all, Control T or edit free transform, and I'll grab this corner, and notice the arrow has this double-ended curvy arrow here, and rotate the picture so the angel is more vertical. And holding Control, I'm going to skew this corner up and out a little bit in order to fill up these corners, so I don't have to crop it tighter. Okay, and this one. Okay, hit Enter twice and deselect. Next, I'll work on the dome and bring up some of the detail again without getting it too hot, too contrasty. And I'll take out a little more of the magenta too. So let me refine edge. So I want you to go gently with this, but don't be afraid to do your editing too. And OK to that. And back to levels, I'm using the shortcut Control L. And looking at the contrast again, coming up to the edge of the mountain, bringing in my highlights, no more than the edge of the mountain, and maybe a little less, and taking a look at my midtones. Okay, and then color balance, that's image adjustment color balance or Control B. Notice on color balance that we have opposites on the color wheel. Red is opposite cyan, magenta is opposite green. So if I'm seeing that it's a bit magenta in here, I'm going to add a little green. Okay. If it's a little yellow, I can add a little blue, but I'm going to leave the yellow, I think. Since it's a low light image, there's some issues, some crossovers of color. Also, it was handheld under low light conditions, so it's not as sharp as it could be. I'll take it anyway. I would love Anthony to get in here and show more of the details of the dome and these curves in here. Okay, so overall, what are we looking at here? Let me look at the overall histogram. It's looking good. Again, let me show you Anthony's version over here. See how green it is and how contrasty and blown out. So I want to have you edit, but exercise a little more restraint, and there's my version. Okay, 8 minutes. I guess I'll cut it off here. Take care. See you in the blog.